They thought she was just the cleaning lady, until 3 armed terrorists learned the hard way. This story unfolds on a cold Tuesday night in March at St. Mary's General Hospital in downtown Seattle. The rain hammered against the tall windows of the 12-story medical center as the night shifts settled into their usual routine. Among them was Maria Santos, a 34-year-old custodial worker who had been quietly cleaning the hospital's corridors for the past 5 years. Maria pushed her cleaning cart down the empty hallway of the 7th floor, her soft-soled shoes making barely a whisper against the polished linoleum. To everyone who passed her, she was invisible, just another member of the support staff who kept the hospital running while the real heroes in scrubs saved lives. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, the head of the cardiac unit, walked past Maria with a tired nod. "Working late again, Maria?" "Si, doctora. 3rd shift, you know," Maria replied in her accented English, her voice soft and unassuming. Nurse Supervisor Patricia Chen stopped by the nurses' station nearby. "Maria's been here longer than some of the doctors," she told the new resident. "Never misses a day, never complains. Model employee." What none of them knew was that Maria Santos had a secret that had been buried beneath 5 years of mop buckets and floor wax, hidden behind broken English and humble smiles. Maria Elena Santos was formerly Petty Officer First Class Maria Santos, Navy SEAL Team 6, with 8 years of special operations experience across 3 combat deployments. But that was a lifetime ago. Now she was just Maria the cleaning lady, and that's exactly how she preferred it. Rehook won, but what happened next would shock everyone. At 11:47 p.m., Maria was cleaning the pediatric wing on the 8th floor when she heard something that made her freeze. 3 distinct sounds that civilians might miss, but that triggered every instinct she had developed during her years in the teams. The metallic click of a safety being disengaged, the soft thud of tactical boots on stairs, and the subtle whisper of radio static. Maria abandoned her mop and moved silently to the stairwell door, pressing her ear against the cold metal. Through the small window, she could see 3 figures moving up the stairs. They wore black tactical gear and carried assault rifles with professional precision. These weren't random criminals or desperate addicts. These were trained operatives. Her mind immediately shifted into combat mode, a mental state she hadn't accessed in 5 years. She counted their weapons, 2 carrying AR-15 variants, 1 with what appeared to be an AK-47. They moved with military discipline, using hand signals and maintaining proper spacing, professional terrorists or mercenaries. Maria slipped back from the door and pulled out her phone, dialing 911. "Seattle Police Emergency. This is Maria Santos at St. Mary's Hospital. We have 3 armed terrorists entering the building. They're currently on the 7th floor moving up. I need immediate response." "Ma'am, are you sure?" "How do you know they're terrorists?" "Because I used to hunt people like them for a living," Maria muttered under her breath, then louder, "Just send everything you have. Now." The dispatcher's response was interrupted by the sound of the stairwell door bursting open. Maria ended the call and moved quickly but silently down the hallway, her years of training overriding 5 years of civilian life. The leader of the terrorist group was a tall man with a thick accent, Eastern European, possibly Russian. "Remember, we need the research from the cancer lab on floor 10. Dr. Harrison's experimental drug formulas are worth $50 million on the black market. Anyone who gets in our way dies." Maria's blood ran cold. The Cancer Research Lab. Dr. James Harrison was working on breakthrough treatments that could revolutionize oncology. But right now, there were 12 patients in the cancer ward, including 6 children. Rehook 2, and that's when her true identity was revealed. The terrorists moved systematically, herding hospital staff into the main lobby. Maria watched from a supply closet as nurses, doctors, and security guards were forced at gunpoint into a growing group of hostages. She counted at least 40 people, including Dr. Walsh and Nurse Chen. "Everyone on the floor, hands behind your heads," shouted the second terrorist, a lean man with facial scars. "This is not a robbery. We are here for specific materials. Cooperate and you live. Resist and you die." The third terrorist, a woman with short blonde hair, was setting up what looked like explosive charges at key structural points. "Charges set," she reported in accented English. "If police storm the building, we bring it down." Maria assessed the situation with the cold calculation of her former profession. 3 armed hostiles, approximately 50 civilian hostages, unknown number of additional patients throughout the 12-story building. No backup for at least 20 minutes given Seattle traffic and the time needed to mobilize SWAT. She moved through the hospital's service corridors like a ghost, using maintenance passages she had learned during her 5 years of custodial work. Her target was the security office on the 3rd floor, where she knew there was an emergency weapons locker that held 2 shotguns and a .40 caliber pistol for the guards. As she made her way through the darkened corridors, Maria's muscle memory kicked in. Her breathing slowed, her movements became fluid and silent, and her mind entered the focused calm that had kept her alive through dozens of high-risk operations in Afghanistan and Iraq. The security office was empty. The guards had either fled or been captured. Maria quickly accessed the weapons locker using the emergency override code she had observed the head of security entering months earlier. Inside, she found a Remington 870 shotgun with a tactical light, a Glock 22, and approximately 60 rounds of ammunition. She checked both weapons with the swift efficiency of someone who had performed these actions thousands of times. The shotgun was loaded with 5 rounds of buckshot. The pistol had a full magazine of 15 rounds, plus 1 in the chamber. Rehook 3. Little did they know who they were really dealing with. Maria made her way back toward the main lobby, but first she needed intelligence. Using her intimate knowledge of the hospital's layout, she accessed the building's security system from a maintenance terminal. The cameras showed her what she was dealing with: 3 professionals who knew what they were doing, positioned to cover all entrances and exits, with hostages arranged as human shields. But they had made one critical error. They didn't know about the service tunnels that connected all floors, passages that Maria had used daily for 5 years. She keyed her radio to the emergency frequency. "This is Maria Santos, hospital custodial staff. I need to speak to the incident commander." A gruff voice responded. "This is Captain Rodriguez, Seattle PD. Ma'am, you need to evacuate immediately." "Negative, Captain. I have eyes on 3 armed hostiles holding approximately 50 hostages in the main lobby. They're here for Dr. Harrison's cancer research. They have explosives set to bring down the building if you storm it." "Ma'am, how do you know all this?" Maria hesitated for a moment, then made a decision that would change everything. "Because I'm former Navy SEAL Team 6, Captain. 8 years special operations. I'm currently armed and in position to neutralize the threats, but I need to coordinate with your response." The radio went silent for several seconds. "Say again? Did you say Navy SEAL?" "That's correct. Call sign was Phantasm. I can provide my service number if you need verification, but right now we have 50 innocent people about to die. Do you want my help or not?" Captain Rodriguez's voice came back with new respect. "What do you need?" Rehook 4. The next 60 seconds would change everything. Maria outlined her plan quickly and precisely. The terrorists were positioned in a triangular formation in the lobby. Leader by the main entrance, 2nd hostile covering the elevator banks, 3rd hostile with the explosives near the information desk. They had good fields of fire and multiple escape routes, but they couldn't cover the service access points that Maria knew intimately. "I'm going to take them one at a time, using the maintenance passages for access and concealment. When I engage the first target, the other 2 will reposition. That's when your snipers need to be ready for shots through the main windows." "Copy that. Snipers are moving into position now. What's your timeline?" 3 minutes. Mark time. Now." Maria moved through the hospital like a predator returning to her natural element. 5 years of pushing a mop and emptying trash cans fell away, replaced by the deadly skills that had made her one of the most effective operators in the world's most elite military unit. Her first target was the woman with the explosives. Maria accessed the service panel behind the information desk, emerging silently just 3 feet from the terrorist's position. The woman never knew what hit her, Maria's knife found the base of her skull with surgical precision, and she was down before she could make a sound. "Target 1 down," Maria whispered into her radio. "Explosives secured." The leader noticed his partner's absence within 30 seconds. Anna, report." Maria was already moving to her second position, using the service elevator to reach an access point behind the elevator banks. The second terrorist was scanning the area, his weapon raised and ready. Maria waited until he moved past her concealed position, then struck. A blood choke applied with textbook precision, and the second hostile was unconscious in 8 seconds, alive but neutralized. Target 2 down, 1 hostile remaining. Bashri Hook 5, and in that moment, the hunter became the hunted. The leader was now alone and knew it. He grabbed Dr. Walsh, pressing his rifle barrel to her head. "I know you're out there. Show yourself or I start killing hostages." Maria positioned herself with a clear line of sight through the main windows. She keyed her radio. "Captain, I need your sniper to take the shot when I give the signal. I'm going to distract him." "Negative. Too risky with a hostage. Trust me." Maria stepped out into the open lobby, the shotgun held casually at her side. The transformation was complete now. Gone was the humble cleaning lady. In her place stood a warrior who had survived battles that most people couldn't imagine. "You can let her go now," Maria said calmly, her voice carrying none of the accent the hospital staff had grown accustomed to. "Your mission is over." The terrorist leader stared at her in confusion. You're the cleaning lady. Where did you get that weapon?" "I'm a lot of things," Maria replied, moving slowly closer. "But right now, I'm the person standing between you and 50 innocent people, and that's a position I'm very comfortable with." "Stay back. I'll kill her." Maria continued her approach, reading his body language, his weapon position, his stress indicators. Everything she had learned in 8 years of high-stakes operations told her this man was at his breaking point. "You want to know something interesting?" Maria said conversationally. "For 5 years I've been cleaning these floors, emptying these trash cans, changing these light bulbs. You know what I learned in that time?" The terrorist was backing up now, confused by her calm demeanor. "I learned that the most important work in the world isn't done by people like you and me. It's done by people like Dr. Walsh here, who saves lives every single day. People like Nurse Chen over there, who comforts families in their darkest hours. People who build instead of destroy." Maria had closed the distance to 15 feet. Perfect range. "But here's the thing about people like me," she continued, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried across the entire lobby. "We're very, very good at protecting people who build things." In one fluid motion, Maria dropped to one knee and brought the shotgun up. The terrorist tried to swing his rifle toward her, but Maria's years of training had prepared her for this exact scenario. She fired. The blast echoed through the lobby as the terrorist was thrown backward, his weapon clattering across the floor. Dr. Walsh collapsed to her knees, alive and unharmed. The hostages sat in stunned silence as Maria calmly walked over and kicked the terrorist's weapon away, then checked his pulse. Still alive, but no longer a threat. "This is Maria Santos," she said into her radio. "All threats neutralized. Hostages are secure. You can send in the medical team." As Seattle PD SWAT officers flooded into the lobby, Maria quietly set down her weapon and raised her hands. But Captain Rodriguez himself walked up to her, not to arrest her, but to shake her hand. "Hell of a job, Petty Officer Santos." "Just Maria's fine, Captain." Dr. Walsh struggled to her feet and stared at Maria in amazement. You saved all of us. Who are you, really?" Maria looked around at the faces of people she had worked alongside for 5 years, people who had never really seen her until this moment. Nurses, doctors, administrators, all staring at her with a mixture of awe and confusion. "I'm the same person I was this morning," Maria said simply. "I just had a different job before this one." Epilogue. The story broke nationwide within hours. Hospital janitor revealed his former Navy SEAL, stops terrorist attack. Maria's military record was verified. Petty Officer First Class Maria Elena Santos, Navy SEAL Team 6, 8 years of service, 3 combat deployments, honorably discharged with multiple commendations for valor. But the media attention was the last thing Maria wanted. She had left that life behind for a reason, trading the intensity of special operations for the quiet dignity of honest work. Hospital Administrator Charles Morrison called her into his office the next day. "Maria, I have to ask, why? Why take a custodial job when you had those kinds of qualifications? You could have worked anywhere, done anything." Maria considered the question carefully. "Mr. Morrison, do you know what I've seen in my 5 years here? I've seen Dr. Williams work 18-hour shifts to save a child's life. I've seen Nurse Rodriguez comfort a dying patient's family. I've seen janitors like Tommy Chen work extra hours just to make sure the place is clean for the patients." She paused, looking out the window at the Seattle skyline. "In the military, I was trained to take lives when necessary. Here, I get to be part of something that saves them every single day, even if my part is just keeping the floors clean so the real heroes can do their work." Morrison nodded slowly. "And now? After what happened last night?" "Now I'd like to get back to work if that's okay. The pediatric wing still needs to be cleaned and the kids will be back tomorrow." Maria returned to her custodial duties, but everything had changed. Doctors and nurses who had barely noticed her before now greeted her by name. Patients' families thanked her not just for cleaning their rooms, but for keeping them safe. Dr. Walsh stopped by one evening as Maria was mopping the cardiac unit. "Maria, I wanted to thank you again, but I also wanted to ask you something." "Of course, Dr. Walsh." "That night when you were talking to that terrorist, you said the most important work is done by people who build instead of destroy. Did you really mean that?" Maria paused in her mopping and smiled. "Doctor, in my old job I was very good at breaking things and eliminating threats. But watching you save Mr. Patterson's life last week, seeing you comfort his wife when she thought she was going to lose him, that takes a different kind of courage. That builds something that lasts." She resumed her mopping. "Anyone can tear something down in a few seconds. It takes real skill, real dedication to build something up day after day, year after year. That's what happens here. That's what you do." 6 months later, Maria still worked the night shift at Sant, Mary's hospital. She still pushed the same cleaning cart, still mopped the same floors, still emptied the same trash cans. But now she also taught self-defense classes to the nursing staff, consulted with security on emergency protocols, and had become an unofficial guardian angel for the place she called home. When new employees asked about the quiet custodial worker who seemed to command such respect, the veterans would tell them, "That's Maria. She's the one who keeps us all safe, and she makes the best coffee in the building." But Maria's favorite moments came during the quiet hours of the night shift, when she could walk the halls knowing that families were sleeping peacefully, that patients were healing, and that the dedicated staff of St. Mary's could focus on their work of saving lives without worrying about their safety. She had traded the adrenaline of special operations for something more valuable, the satisfaction of being part of something bigger than herself, something that built rather than destroyed, something that healed rather than harmed. And if anyone ever asked her if she missed her old life, Maria would smile and say, "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." Because sometimes the greatest warriors are the ones who choose to put down their weapons and pick up a mop instead. And sometimes the most important battles are fought not with bullets and bombs, but with quiet dedication and the simple desire to make the world a little bit cleaner, a little bit safer, a little bit better than it was before.